What is up, everyone? Renfail here, and today we're going to be diving into the best skills for new players. If you've never played Starfield before, we're going to be diving into the various abilities throughout the 5 skill trees here. We've got the physical skill tree, the social skill tree, the combat skill tree, the science skill tree, and the tech skill tree. The most important thing you need to understand as a new player is there are no wrong choices, because at the end of the day, you can level up every single one of these skills and you can go through all the various tiers. Each one of these has 4 different tiers that you can level up. And you do start the game with 3 that you choose based upon sort of your class selection at the beginning of the game. So as an example, I chose Soldier, and if I remember correctly off the top of my head, it was boost pack training as well as ballistics, and I think it might have been fitness. If you choose bounty hunter, it's something else. You choose scoundrel, it's something else. You'll start the game with 3 skills relevant to the background that you've chosen, but then once you get into the game, as you level up, every single time you level up, you're going to get a skill point, which is represented by this box down at the bottom left. I have 0 skill points right now. I believe I'm level 30 at the moment. Yeah, I just hit level 30 this morning during the stream. So we kind of take a look at some of the skills that I've chosen for my character as a soldier slash someone who's doing a lot of crafting and ship-based combat. But of course, remembering that there are no wrong choices, because you can come through here and level all of these up as you see fit. Don't stress about it too much. Take the 3 that are great for you based on your background, and then you can expand from there. Now, there are some caveats to leveling up in this game. Although there are no wrong choices, there are some things that sort of lend themselves to certain playstyles more than others. As an example, the combat tree, in my perspective, is really only going to be useful if you're going to be playing someone who is going to be relying a lot upon weapons, and as opposed to sneaking around or using persuasion. Like if the first playthrough that I did through the game, I played someone who was heavy in the persuasion line, so I went down through persuasion, down into intimidation. I also took I forget where it's at down in here. There's one here for it might be in the persuasion line. It's not. There's a negotiation one somewhere here. Oh, there it is right there. So I avoided combat as much as possible during my first playthrough, so I focused heavily on the social tree. As opposed to this time around, I'm focusing a lot on my ship combat. So I've come in here, and you'll see that I have like a rank 4 in piloting, so that I can pilot all classes of ships in the game, and of course the targeting system, so that I can board ships and steal them and so on and so forth. But in terms of combat, I've heavily favored ballistic weapons as opposed to melee weapons or lasers or pistols or shotguns. So I've chosen to go through and rank up my ballistics, which are weapons like machine guns and so on and so forth. I think it does sort of ballistic damage, and you can go from there however you choose to see fit. Now, I also am someone who is wearing really cool armor this time around, as we can see here. And armor weighs a lot, but also I am a loot goblin, so for someone like me who likes to loot a lot, heavy lifting is going to be a mandatory skill that you take, and you're going to want to max this out as soon as possible, because it's going to give you a ton of extra carry capacity, and that is a big deal when you're trying to get things back to your ship to stash it in the cargo hold. So let's kind of back out of this for a minute and talk about this at a more granular level. So we've kind of already briefly touched on the fact that if you're going to be playing a character who focuses a lot on combat, you're going to want to choose a specialization for your combat style. I don't think it's worthwhile trying to take more than one of these out of the gate, because there are so many different types of weapons, and being a jack of all trades might sound good, but at the end of the day, you really do want to focus fire, especially if you're going to be playing on difficulties, higher difficulties, or the survival mode, because you're going to want the bonus damage that you get for using certain things. And if you're spread too thin throughout here, you're going to end up having, a point or 2 in ballistics, a point or 2 in lasers, a point or 2 in shotguns, and it's just not that worthwhile. It's much better to pick the combat style that you're going to be working with and max that out so that you get the most bonuses possible for that combat style. Now, if you don't want to do combat and you want to be someone who's going to be primarily persuading people, intimidating people, and negotiating with people, you're going to want to focus more on the social aspect of the game. Now, each rank of persuasion allows you to have a better chance of success. This is great when combined with the different things like wine. If you drink wine, you get a persuasion bonus, and there's different prescription medication that you can take, aka drugs in the game, that will allow you to have a greater chance as well. And everything in this skill tree, everything in this skill system here is based on successful use. So when you're trying to level up something, let's take a look at, say, I know I'm working on spacesuit design right now. I'm currently on rank 3 of spacesuit design, and you're going to notice a challenge progress rating. It says currently 4 out of 30. It says I need to craft 30 spacesuit, helmet, or pack mods. So the leveling up of an individual skill is based entirely upon successful use of something. So I would need to successfully create 30 mods to level up through rank 3 to get to the place where I can unlock rank 4. Once I've unlocked rank 4, I can then spend a skill point to then acquire rank 4. And it's the same for every single one of these in here. Like right now, I've ranked up to rank 2 of the medicine skill tree. And if I wanted to go to rank 3, I could. It's available right now because I have unlocked it, because I've done 50 of 50. I've used healing items 50 times while wounded, but I don't have any current skill points to unlock that. So that's something to keep in mind when you're going through here, is that leveling up your skills is based upon successful use of something. So in this case, with the targeting control system, I needed to use that 30 times to destroy 30 enemy ships while in targeting mode to unlock rank 4. And this one's kind of tricky because, and some of these are trickier than others. Like this one is a tricky one because if you're using like auto turrets on your ship, you'll often find that your auto turrets are doing so much damage that it'll destroy a ship before you get a chance to enter into the targeting mode, which means you don't get credit for the challenge progress, and it's very important to pay attention to that. Another one that can be sort of tricky too is, and I'm going to forget where it's at, there is a sneak ability somewhere in here, and I wish I could remember where it's at because I haven't done sneak this time around. But if you're going to be sneaking around, oh, here it is, stealth. Stealth is really tricky because in order to get these, the way it works is it's based upon successful sneak attacks, and the sneak in this game is a little weird, so you really have to be super careful. And the problem is that, as a general rule, unless you're super, super good at it, and you wait until a mob is far enough away from his compatriots, when you take out a mob with stealth attack, it's going to alert the other mobs nearby, and you have to run away and get back into stealth somewhere before they see you so that you can create credit for the next one. Otherwise, you're only going to be getting one per encounter, which can be a little bit frustrating. So some of these are harder, more difficult to level up than others. So that's something to keep in mind. As a general rule, I think the best ones to take for new players out of the gate, based upon your playstyle, are going to be, if you're going to be social, go for the persuasion. I think weightlifting is mandatory for anyone that wants to be looting a lot. If you don't plan on looting stuff, then you don't need to worry about weightlifting. But this one, I personally would max this out every single time immediately, because things like weapons weigh more than, in spacesuits and so on and so forth. But some of this also depends on whether or not you're playing in survival mode, because you can adjust how heavy, whether or not ammo weighs anything, as an example. So I'm currently playing on survival mode where I have ammo weight on. So for me, it made sense to level up the weightlifting as soon as possible so that I can get that increased carry capacity by 100 kilograms. Because it's really, really useful. This time around, I'm not doing anybody who needs to worry about, talking to anybody. So I went pure combat and just maxed out the ballistics. Now over here is where, if you're going to be doing any sort of crafting, this is where you're going to be spending a lot of time. Because specifically, and this is covered in my crafting and mods guide, in order to modify your spacesuits or to modify your weapons, you're going to need weapon engineering, spacesuit design, and special projects. These are mandatory requirements to modify those things. And leveling these up requires a ton of resources and a lot of time. because of the resources that you get. And you can either buy those or you can find those in the wild. But then you also have to, as an example, to get to rank 4 of spacesuit design, I have to make 30 spacesuit helmet or pack mods. And those are really, really expensive to make for the materials that you're required to use. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. So this is one of those ones where I would suggest that if you're gonna be starting out of the gate, don't worry about the spacesuit design and weapon engineering right away. Focus on the 3 skills that you start the game with, max those out as soon as possible, and then start branching out into other things. Another one that's extremely useful is boost pack training. If you didn't pick a background at the beginning of the game that has boost pack training, you need to take a rank of this as soon as possible. Like the very first ding that you get in the game, get rank 1 of the boost packs, because even though it's not that powerful at level 1, it will allow you to traverse distances on planets and to jump over obstacles and to jump up things. It's extremely useful to have the boost pack training. Get it as soon as possible, because it is extremely useful for that. Piloting is another one. If you're going to be doing a lot of space combat, you're going to want piloting as quickly as possible because of this. Rank 3, the ability to unlock Class B ships, and rank 4, the ability to unlock Class C ships. If you want to be flying the best ships in the game, you want to get your piloting level up as soon as possible. And then the targeting control system is mandatory if you're going to want to board ships to steal them while in space, because you can unlock the ability to target different parts of the ship, shields, engines, so on and so forth. And so knocking out, shields and engines, as an example, knocking out the engines allows you to board many vessels, but you can't do that until you've unlocked the targeting control system. So that's another caveat for players who are doing this for the first time and looking to do a lot of spaceship stuff. Theft is another one, which is the ability to pickpocket targets if you're going to be going the sneak route. There's also scavenging, which is nice to get you extra credits, but somewhere in here... Oh, this one's a big one. If you're going to be playing on survival mode, gastronomy is a big deal because you can craft specialty foods and drinks, and also somewhere in here there's a nutrition one, which I think is over here somewhere. I don't remember where it's at. There it is. Nutrition, which allows you to make your drinks, food and drinks, more effective. Now, this kind of depends on how hardcore you're going with these survival options now that they're in the game as of May 15th, 2024. But this is another one I would consider sort of high priority for those of you who are going to be focusing on having the detrimental effects from food and drink, which if you haven't taken a look at that before, we can look at my status right now, and you'll notice that currently I'm hydrated and fed for the next 55 seconds, and those give me bonuses. Now, once I run out of those, it's the direct opposite of those. So, there's things to consider. Also, it looks like I have a stimulant addiction, which I'm going to need to get rid of. I didn't know that. Good thing I went and looked at this. Anyway, everybody, that is a basic overview of the skill system for new players. Some of the ones that I think are really important for those of you who are getting going for the first time. If you found this guide useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams happen here and on Twitch. There's a Discord and a Patreon if you want to get involved with our community at large and my work as a sci-fi and fantasy author. I'll see everybody in the next one. Stay safe. Happy gaming.